Oi, what's the best game where you get to eat pie? What's the best game where you play a dead guy? You'll find out in VG247's podcast. Here, what's the best game where you swing from a rope? And what's the best game where you batter the Pope? Assassin's Creed 2. Like I said, you will find out in this here podcast. Welcome to VG247's Best Games Ever podcast. On today's episode, we're taking a trip to the future to ask ourselves a question. What existing video game do we think could have been made by an AI? That's right, we're imagining a world where artificial intelligence has advanced to the point where it can create entire games on its own. But which game do our panelists think an AI would have come up with? We'll be exploring the various candidates and debating the pros and cons of each one. Will it be a game with cutting-edge graphics and realistic gameplay, or something more offbeat and unconventional? Join us as we try to determine the best game ever that could have been made by an AI. It's sure to be a fun and enlightening discussion. Not my words, but the words of ChatGPT, which you'll be pleased to...
It was going so well until you said it should be a fun and... Oh my God, it was like so well. It was like almost passable as a human being.
I've got to say that's quite impressive, though. Like, that's better than some scripts that I've seen written by real people in the real games media.
Like, we've definitely had copy passed to us that's worse than that.
This is why we can't get any of the people that we thought we were going to get on the end of the year podcast on. This is why you say stuff like that.
So I logged into ChatGPT. I mean, I've been asking about like Oaksters and stuff like all month just to pass the time, and I gave it some really basic information about the podcast and said, "Can you write an intro for me for the next episode?" And that's what it came up with. Well. And like, I'm astonished and terrified. But yes, the topic of today's podcast is what's the best game that we think could have been made by an AI. So I'm joined, as you've already heard, by Sharif Saeed and by Alex Donaldson and by Editor-in-Chief Tom Ori. Let's just get into it because it's right after Christmas and I've eaten too much. And
this topic is rubbish, by the way.
It's not.
I hate it.
It's not rubbish.
Terrible.
It's topic. Not a rubbish topic, and that's exactly how you lose, Tom. All right. Okay. First of all, can we hear from Sharif, because you have won every time you've been on, and I'm very interested to see if you can keep that up. So, What have you got for us?
I think to me, the ultimate objective of an AI is, other than sentience, is the search and constant yearn for knowledge. Like, it wants to be intelligent. This is how we train them. So they take after us all the CAPTCHA stuff, crosswalks, and that you've been doing online. That's training AI to basically be able to identify and be smarter about things, and basically knowledge. Like, a smarter AI is better than something was a two-function thing that you have on your, fridge or whatever.
Yeah.
So in my mind, one of the toughest things for an AI to learn, or one of the more interesting things for an AI to learn, is effectively how humans perceive themselves. And I think a great game and kind of a social experiment that an AI could create would be 2008's Spore from Wellwright, of course, a successor to The Sims. Now, Spore, if you're not familiar, is a real-time strategy game where you effectively guide the evolution of organisms through different stages, and you have control over a lot more variables than real actual evolution does, and I'll come back to that. But it's basically it's a game that you can finish in 6 hours, or you can never finish. It's one of those games. Mm-hmm. So why I think it would be created by an AI is basically the two things about that game that I think are very important is that it is not like actual real world evolution, the theory of evolution, in two crucial ways. I think number one, because you have control over the process, it is not reflective of actual evolution, because actual evolution is a response to genetic and environmental changes. You get your tall hand if you need to reach something that's further up, all that stuff. But also because the ultimate goal of the game is intelligence, is to reach, like, basically you go to space and then meet other creatures to create civilization. Whereas actual evolution is a process. Like, there's no end goal for evolution unless you die, but or you go extinct, I guess. But the point is, if you wanted to understand your creators, basically psyche and their mind about the idea of creation itself, I think you would make that game and then you would collect all the data, all the weird, horrible creatures that come out of it, and then try to see, okay, like this person took a shortcut, this person did this, like what is more valuable to this person in a creature? And I think that would give you a lot of insight into your own creators as an AI.
So this is like a game made by an AI for AI to gather data on humans.
Yeah.
Right. That's a really good angle. That's astonishing. I mean, yeah, if a machine was trying to learn about its creators and their origins, and crucially how they perceive their origins,
and somehow ended up just making Galgun repeatedly.
No, I think that also that's interesting because they could the idea is not to learn how humans came to be because an AI could just read a Wikipedia page that the theory of evolution is not hard to explain to an AI, but it's the sort of thing where if you ask someone or a group of people, it's like, would you jump in front of a car to save a cat? And then 90% of them will say, of course. And then you observe that behavior, and a majority of those people will not in fact jump in front of that car. And I think if you just ask, if you go to your creators, how was I created? Why was I created? You're not going to get the answer that you want. So instead, you sort of sandwich it in this experiment and then see their outputs. Okay, this is why what they think they did or what they think they are as creators of this thing.
That's a really solid pitch. For the record, I would jump in front of a car to save my own cat, not cats in general. Okay. That's a lot to think of. That's very philosophical for the
Mine's not
January.
that deep. Mi's not that deep.
2023, baby. I'll
as
kick
a
it
heads up.
We're kicking it off.
Galgun double piece.
Yeah.
Is that what you've spent Christmas doing, Tom? You've just played all the Galgun games.
I just thought I've got to get myself up to speed on the games we always mention on this podcast.
The Galgun universe.
Up to speed. I see. Okay. People who play Galgun, the 5 of you, the pervs of you, will understand this joke.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have many listeners who've played Galgun.
Hey, man.
We might have had a couple since Alex tried to pitch it.
This podcast, is it sponsored by Galgun? I don't know.
Can we do that?
We've said it a lot. I mean, let's go the whole hog.
We're gonna get sanctioned. We're gonna be pushed artificially down the ranking.
It's not sponsored by Galgun.
It absolutely is not. No, in fact, we don't condone it on any level. Okay, well, Tom, since you're clearly itching to get something off your chest, let's hear your pick next.
Before I say my game, right, you mentioned jumping in front of cars to save cats, right? I've got a little story. It's cat related. So,
right.
When I was younger, my twin brother got these love letters from a girl that lived up the road.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old you were, 9 maybe?
We're getting a origin story.
Don't mention his name, Jim.
Oh, sorry.
Bleep that
People
out.
can just look it up.
Bleep it out.
Fine.
He's exited the industry. He doesn't want to be part of this anymore, right? So he got love letters, and they were classic, child love letters. They were scented with perfume.
Oh,
I think they were petals in the envelope and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were very nice letters. And then he wrote back saying something along the lines of, "Please don't write to me again, or I'll run over your cat with my bike."
what?
That's a very Ori response, to be fair. I can see it.
I mean, I don't know why he took that approach, but that is it. So I don't think he would jump in front of a car to save a cat.
That's incredible.
Wow.
But what you're saying is he would assault a cat in order to upset a neighbor.
Yeah, I think it was just 9-year-olds not being able to deal with anything beyond very basic emotions, right? I mean, that's the thing you don't get.
It's quite extreme, though.
I thought this was going to be some mad plot where you pretended to be him, and
that happened loads of times, but that's not this story, no.
Right. Okay.
All right, so my game. Forgot about that. So I was this topic is rubbish. I can't think of anything.
That's what you're like every week, Tom.
It's because what happens is I get to 5 to 10 in the morning, and it's the podcast is happening soon. I've got nothing, and I'm I wish this was an easier thing that I could just think of quickly. Anyway, I thought, right, AI needs something to go on, as an example, right? What's a good example of games where games have used other games as like the model for what they've done. And I thought Doom clones, right? Doom clones were a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had loads of games that like basically were very similar to Doom. And the one that stuck out to me as the thing I remember the most is Star Wars Dark Forces, which was a good first-person shooter, Star Wars universe. I think it was like mid-90s, PC, and I think PlayStation. I don't know if it came to anything else, but it was on the PlayStation at some point. And it, if you look at it, like if you go and you Google it and YouTube it, it is so close to Doom in terms of the way it looks, and it's got like the little the buttons you press to open doors, and it just looks like you told an AI, look at Doom, make everything Star Wars, done. That is it. I mean, they did, to be fair to them, it's got like you can look around. I think you can look. I'm not sure you can look all around, but you definitely look up and down, which you definitely couldn't do in Doom.
I think it's in the build engine, isn't it? The
I don't know. I think it's got its own engine, possibly. I can't remember.
It wouldn't be in the build engine because the build engine was the Duke Nukem stuff.
I thought it was in the Duke Nukem engine.
I don't
Dark
think
Forces.
so.
I wouldn't know.
I don't know, but you can definitely look to a degree. You couldn't do that in Doom. So they've gone like AI, chat AI, whatever it's called. Look at this, add Star Wars, add looking. There you go. Done. And it's a good game. I liked it when I was like 13 or whatever. There you go.
I think that is. I think you're definitely onto something there, because that as you say, that's a perfect prompt for. It was the build engine, by the way. I was correct.
It was, okay. When he said don't do Doom clone, I was just like, oh, this is like
you win, Jim. Well done, you win. Right.
And it tech.
It says here that it uses the Jedi game engine.
Listen,
that's not a thing.
It is.
I'm clicking into it. Jedi game engine. Very similar to the build engine.
It was the build engine.
Similar.
Okay.
I'm now going to accuse them of corporate espionage just to say
they use the AI to create the engine too, Jim.
Right. No, it wasn't the build engine. I was wrong. But you're right, because that is exactly, you can imagine that's it's basically how an art prompt works, right? All those people on Twitter who fancy themselves artists now because they're typing like, Star Trek except Riker's got tits, and then it's just generating.
This is what you do over Christmas, Jim. You don't need.
I think I did type that into Midjourney once, but I'm not going to share what it came out with.
There was one that had a sale on credits, which credits is that you basically, it's sort of like it's a token that you use to generate a thing, and one of them had like a 50% off on credits, or like double the credits, and I really thought about it for a while, and then I was like, nah.
A lot of people have been like generating their like PFPs with them and stuff, and they all look like. You remember that photo of Jeff Keighley when he was like. When he first started dressing like he was like he'd arrived from the future to tell us about games. Anyway, let's not get into that. But I mean that is how prompts work. You're right. If you typed if some advanced AI that's going to come out definitely within the next 2 years, where you could literally tell it to design a game for you, that's going to happen. The games are going to be terrible, but that's definitely going to happen, and you are going to be able to go, well, about a Doom clone except it's Star Wars, and it would come out with something that looked reasonably like Dark Forces. I think that's absolutely correct, Tom. So I endorse this pitch as well. So I've got two good pitches now. I'm really upset about that because it makes it difficult for me later. Alex, what have you got for us?
My choice, there's a few reasons for my choice. The main reason, I think it's one of those things, as soon as I say the game, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So my choice is Minecraft.
Yeah.
There's a few reasons for this, like I say. So obviously the first reason is the whole game is procedurally generated. And I think that everything that makes that game great actually occurs in the procedural generation of the world. I think actually if you take the mechanics of what Minecraft is and you do it in set maps and all that sort of stuff, it's no good. Everything that makes Minecraft good is in that procedural generation, which isn't entirely random. There's thinking and there's processes in where it places things and the proximity of certain things and all that sort of stuff, where people have worked all that out now, right? They've worked out how the game is layering all that, and so there's best tips of the best ways to mine diamond and all that sort of stuff. I also think the funny thing about the way that game is designed is the way the recipes work and stuff like that are very non-human in a way that is very straight laced and sometimes quite obviously intuitive, and sometimes so logical to a point where it just becomes almost unintuitive in the way that usually only occurs when something is designed by a computer. Also, Minecraft is a great breeding ground for artificial intelligence in itself. There is Project Malmo, which Microsoft runs in their Maker Code program, which basically is they've literally got like Minecraft servers set up where they now have AIs running around within these Minecraft servers and doing things and playing Minecraft, and they're training and learning how to play the game and all that sort of stuff. So there's a connection to artificial intelligence there. But of course, we cannot forget that as the old internet meme goes, Minecraft was created by Hatsune Miku, who is a piece of software. So, I don't think, I think that's a literal interpretation, right? Sharif's pulling a face where it's like, clearly Sharif does not know this.
I don't know about the Hatsune Miku thing. I don't know what that is. I actually don't know what that is.
I will explain, because obviously there'll be audience members too. But as the original creator of Minecraft began to go off the deep end, first with a bunch of transphobic stuff, then with like QAnon stuff and just all this, that guy went off the deep end in a big way. And when that happened, people started to say that Minecraft was created by Hatsune Miku as a way of jokingly erasing his importance and his influence over one of the greatest games of all time. People also say that Hatsune Miku wrote Harry Potter.
and Father Ted. Hatsune Miku has been prolific.
Do you think that guy will be back to peddle some NFT shit in 2023? Because I feel like that's the next step on
well, I don't know. He probably doesn't need the money. I wouldn't be surprised if the creator of Father Ted
I feel like they
is shopping some NFTs about sometime soon,
rattling about in his fucking Thunderbirds mansion, just getting angry at stuff.
I know someone who went to a party at that mansion, and it just sounds like not a place to be rattling around in on your own. It sounds hideous. But so I just, at the second Jim sent me the message and it was like games and AI, my absolute first thought was Hatsune Miku created Minecraft. And Miku is an icon. Miku does concerts. Miku, is a software Vocaloid, artificial. I don't know if we'd say she's intelligent, but I'm sure that's coming.
Wait,
not quite an artificial intelligence, but definitely a generational talent.
Hang on. There are a bunch of Hatsune Miku games. So that technically is a game made by AI, right? Like if you really think about it, right? Like Hatsune Miku games are
they're dance games, right? They're But I had to do it. I had to choose Minecraft. But I also think, that joke aside, there aren't many games that I've played and loved where mechanically they genuinely feel like they've been slotted together by a machine. And I think a lot of that is a lot of the success of Minecraft is down to that. It's down to this very Lego-like way. Not the blocks go together in the world, but the Lego-like way that the mechanics snap together and layer on top of each other, which are never usually that robotic in any game. But something about Minecraft is, and I think that's a great part of why the game's successful, regardless of who created it. But then also there happened to be this funny joke that I've always found amusing, because it makes some people so angry. When I looked it up, I went on the Know Your, there's a website Know Your Meme, where it's just like Wikipedia for memes, and all the comments on this are all people really mad on behalf of Minecraft's original creator. And I just think it's hilarious.
Wasn't even his. I mean, he like didn't. I mean, isn't it basically common knowledge that the idea came from Infiniminer anyway? Like, it's not.
So, to some degree.
It's kind of the gist of Minecraft was something that was kind of gestating in the indie development community for a while, and there were a few attempts to do something like that, and Minecraft was the one that cracked it.
This is similar to how years ago, my twin again, we were on a podcast, and we were talking about games that we wanted to make, and he suggested something called I think it was Furious Pigeons, something like that. And then a few years later, Angry Birds, right?
Was it the same concept though, or just the name?
Yeah, I think similar, destroying stuff. I mean,
Think of the Ori Empire. You could
imagine we'd have been loaded. I'd have been, because I was in the room. I'd have taken some ownership of that idea because I probably influenced him to some degree. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
well, you'd have turned up to half the meetings, and he'd have turned up to the other half.
Yeah,
and then it would have been the Bruce Buffer and what's his brother beef of you can only they fought each other for a while in court.
I thought you were going to say that the idea was going to be what was the pigeon dating sim? I thought it was going to be that.
Right, yeah.
Hatterful Boyfriend?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I thought it was going to be that you designed that.
That was way too highbrow.
Yes,
I do love because you mentioned it. I have to say, I had to check it was still the same, but I do love the low key annoyance on the Infiniminer website, which says Infiniminer is a first-person competitive mining game that takes place in a procedurally generated block world, allowing players to mine, build, and explore. Sound familiar? That's because Infiniminer is the game that started the block genre.
Oh my god! This is the edgiest fucking.
I respect it. Fair play.
Yeah. Well, we got some very, very good picks there. We're going to play that jingle. That means I have to pick something now. Oh, this is going to be... I think this might
Think carefully about this, Jim, because I think there's a clear choice, and there's the other choices. I think if you think about them really carefully, they don't quite meet the criteria as well as the other one.
All I'm saying is Hatsune Miku is bigger than the Beatles.
That's probably true.
That can't be true.
Even if true, how relevant is that to this topic?
It's always relevant.
All right. Well, okay. Well, Tom, your pitch was brilliant, and just identifying something that could 100% have been generated from a prompt as we understand the creation of AI art today. So making something from the past fit that framework. That was really good thinking. Alex, I really liked how your pitch was essentially, telling several people who deserve to be told to fuck off. But I'm still, I think... don't be mad at me, Tom. I think I'm gonna have to hand it to Sharif again.
Oh God! Because and the streak continues.
Because I was really impressed by that just general idea of, and I really it sounds like something that Russell T Davies might come up with. The idea that some rogue artificial intelligence has invented a popular game to study the human race.
I feel like that is a Ninth Doctor novel. I feel like I've read that story. There's definitely a Ninth Doctor novel that's about an evil video game. Definitely. Because I've read that. I just can't remember if it was made by aliens or artificial intelligence. But so you're sort of on the nose there, I think. Yeah,
I feel like it just made me think of just had flashes in my head of David Tennant and Catherine Tate running around.
I can't believe we're back on Doctor Who in this podcast again.
Just you wait until it's actually back on the air. It's going to be
I'm going to shut up about it. I think three very solid pitches. But I think Sharif just took it for me because I really like that idea. It had a very sinister human beings as lab rats angle, which is always fun.
In a sense, but it could be you could imagine Data from Star Trek making it, right? You could imagine this
Now
is
here we go.
yeah.
Just add
100%.
another layer to the please Jim system.
it is over. No. This is post.
My game was made by Geordie LaForge, and he did it through his visor. All right,
You would have to do it for his
You
visor.
all
He's
watch
blind.
Star Trek. You all 100% watch Star Trek, even though you pretend you don't. All right, okay. Well, I'm gonna say that Spore is the best game that could have been made by an AI, and I've got an outro here written by ChatGPT again. So I just want to read the words of a very sophisticated and I have to say impressively, terrifyingly good chatbot. Certainly one of the best I've ever used, and I was using them in the 90s when they would just sort of like repeat what you said back to you in a slightly different way. Okay, listen to this, it's brilliant. And that concludes today's episode of VG247's Best Games Ever podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on what existing video game we think could have been made by an AI. It keeps specifying existing because it did one draft where it didn't realize that we were talking about games that were already on the market. So this is the revised version. We had a great time debating the various candidates and coming up with some creative and offbeat ideas. That's true. Who knows? Maybe one day an AI will actually create a game that's even better than the ones we discussed today. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to join us for our next episode where we'll be discussing brackets insert topic of next episode. Until then, keep on gaming.
Keep on gaming.
Oh goddamn! It's so close. Why is it always so close? That last line is a killer. Like it was like what was the other one? Like have fun or whatever. Like and then this is fucking enjoy your gaming.
Yeah. It's sure to be a fun and enlightening discussion. Do you think it's like?
God damn! It's so close.
When I worked in video game retail, and they still take the piss out of me for this every now and then. And a young child, like I don't know, 12, 13, bought a copy of World of Warcraft, and we were, and obviously I like role playing games. Right? I'm not a big Warcraft person, but we were talking about it because they came up to the counter and his mom was like, "What sort of game is it?" And I was explaining, you do quests, and you do this and that, and you can obviously you interact with real people. And they bought it, and then when they bought it, as they handed over the game, I can't believe I'm telling this story. As I handed over the game to them, I said, "Happy questing." And they thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and they still say it to me to this day. So there you go. Happy
Amazing.
questing.
Oh my god.
Getting several origin stories today. All right. Well, I think I might get ChatGPT to just write all the intros from now on. It saved me so much time, I tell you.
Just delete the last line because it's usually something bizarre.
That's the best bit. That's the punchline. I'm choosing to believe that the AI is taking the piss out of us here.
It's like a catfish on a dating app. It's all fun and games, and then they bring up crypto. And it's like, oh god.
Like I said, you will find out in this here podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. It really helps us get the word out. We're not just a podcast, of course. If you'd like to hear more from the team, then check out VG247.com for our fantastic news coverage, features, reviews, and game guides. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.